What's up guys, my name is Jack, you're watching JBTCG, and today we're going to go over every single Pokemon product that I invested in over the month of November. This month I was a little bit conservative with my investments. You'll see my investment total wasn't as high as some of the previous months. The main reason for that is that I was saving up to make a big investment play on a certain product, but the market conditions weren't exactly perfect. Now, I do think I will be making this big play over the month of December, and we'll go over all this in this video. So I'm not like slowing down my Pokemon investments, but I think next month I will make a huge play into one specific product. This month was still pretty interesting. The market looks like it is still settling, but it seems to have found kind of a bottom, or not a bottom, but a new level, where we saw a huge spike through the early fall months. Then things started coming down a bit. We saw a little correction, and now things are kind of level. And I think we're going to see some things pop up through the winter months, especially with the huge hype for sets like Ascended Heroes. So with all that being said, let's go over what I invested in. All right, the first stuff, let's just get out of the way. It's the Pokemon Center pre-orders for Phantasmal Flames. Obviously, we got the 1 booster box, 2 Pokemon Center ETBs. In total, I want to say this cost, I think it was like $300-ish, because this is like 160. These are 60 a piece, plus tax, all that stuff. So I think it comes out to right around 300. But overall, I mean, obviously, if you're able to get this stuff for MSRP from the Pokemon Center, that's a buy every single time. And I hope you guys were successful in getting these, because especially with the Pokemon Center ETBs, these things look absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, these are a top 4, definitely top 5 Pokemon Center ETB, just going off of the looks of it. Like, the Charizard just looks so menacing. The colors, the light blue outlines, really, they just pop, man. They look amazing. And I really prefer this over the regular ETB, which I actually have some right here. Let me pull up this. So we put them side by side. Like, obviously, the blue lines pop in both, but I think they pop a little bit more in this one, especially with it being a little bit more zoomed in on the Charizard. And I think you get this like dull blue here versus just the black with a neon blue outline. The Pokemon Center ETB is super, super clean looking. Huge fan of it. And honestly, in terms of like rating it as an investment long term compared to other Pokemon Center ETBs, I think the one thing that this is missing is an outstanding promo card. Like with this one, you get this Charcadet, which is not a bad card. I still think it's pretty cool, but there's other ones that are far cooler and far more desired. Like if we look behind, we got Prismatic Evolutions. Obviously, that Eevee promo card is going to blow that Charcadet out of the water. Let's look at this. Like, obviously, there's going to be more demand for this Eevee. So thinking as an investment long term, Prismatic Evolutions will probably far outperform this, just because you have Eevee on the front. You also get that fantastic promo card. Prismatic Evolutions is a much stronger set than Phantasmal Flames. But if we're just talking about sealed collections, this is a great sealed collector's piece. And I think that is really one of the keys with these ETBs or Pokemon Center ETBs, is when you think about who's going to be buying this, who's going to be buying this box when it is $700, $800, if it makes it to that point, obviously. Not guaranteeing that it will make it to $800, but think about 10 years down the line. If this box is $800, the market for it isn't going to be somebody who's going to rip it open, most likely. It's going to be a high-end sealed collector or a big Charizard fan who wants this a part of their Charizard collection. So with these Pokemon Center ETBs that get more and more expensive, you want to make sure that the sealed displayability is top tier, and it will be something that is desired long term by a sealed collector. Things like this Prismatic Evolutions Eevee, I don't love it that much, but it does have Eevee on the front. You can see Destined Rivals here. This one is another great example of a Pokemon Center ETB that I think is basically a 10 out of 10 and will have a lot of demand long term, even if it gets super expensive, just for people's sealed collections. All right, but that's enough yapping about my pre-orders. Let's move on to my next items. Now, my next items, surprisingly enough, are somebody else's Phantasmal Flames Pokemon Center pre-orders. There's somebody on Facebook Marketplace who's just looking to offload them, and I chose to pick them up. Now I got a pretty good deal on them. If you like kind of break it down by cost, he sold the full set of his pre-orders for $550, which is pretty low. I think that's definitely below market. Like if you think about it, you break it down, like let's say 150 for each of the Pokemon Center ETBs, that's 300, and then say like 250 for the booster box. So below market for all the stuff. Now, talking about long-term investing in the Phantasmal Flames booster box, what are my thoughts on this? So honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of this booster box as an investment long-term. And the main reason for that is because the actual set of Phantasmal Flames, I don't think is going to have a ton of like value long-term. Obviously, you have this huge Mega Charizard, which has a ton of value, a ton of demand. But other than this Mega Charizard, there's really not that much else in the set that people are chasing. And the value in the set, there's pretty much nothing else besides that and the gold Charizard. So it's really a one-trick pony set. And these sets can perform well long-term. They can appreciate in price. I'm not saying it won't appreciate, but it's not a big booster box with like a big set list that I think will appreciate much more than it already is. Like I don't think the ceiling for this Mega Charizard is like $2,000. I think it's much closer to like $1,000 because it's much easier to pull than some of the other big chase cards like the Umbreon VMAX, things like the Latios and Latias tag team from Team Up, even things like the Prismatic Evolutions Umbreon. These are cards that are much harder to pull. That makes them more rare and more expensive long term. With this set being in print for the next 2 to 3 years, and the odds of pulling the top chase card being around 1 in 400, it doesn't make me think that this is going to appreciate tremendously long term. Now, booster boxes do perform well long term historically, and I do think as a sealed product comes, the Pokemon Center ETB will perform the best for Phantasmal Flames, and then the booster box will be second, if you're not counting the UPC. I do really like the UPC as an investment, as a sealed product, and that's actually what the next product I'm going to show you guys is. All right, the Phantasmal Flames Ultra Premium Collection, or I guess it's just the Mega Charizard Ultra Premium Collection. This is a top tier product. In my opinion, it hits all the marks. Like when you think about what a sealed product is and what gives a sealed product value, this hits every single mark. Sealed displayability for people who are sealed collectors. It looks amazing, it looks beautiful. The packs inside, pack selection. You get Journey Together, Surging Sparks, Destined Rivals, Mega Evolution, and Phantasmal Flames. All pretty solid sets. Journey Together, probably on the weaker side. Surging Sparks, decent set. But the last 3 sets with Destined Rivals, Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames, very desired sets, very expensive top chase cards in all those sets. I think that will definitely keep demand for this long term. And then promo cards. 2 amazing promo cards. One, this Mega Charizard, which is always going to have demand because it's a Charizard, and it's reminiscent of the XY era style of Mega Evolution cards. And then you got this Oricorio illustrated by Shinji Kanda, which I did open one of these UPCs, and having it in person, it does look really, really awesome. They really just have a way of making their cards look beautiful. Now, do I think, like say, investing in these promos will do well long term? Probably not. I mean, maybe they appreciate, but the sealed box is really what I think will do the best long term. And I didn't just purchase one. In total, I purchased 10 and I opened one. So I bought 2 cases of them off the secondary market for an average cost of $610 per case. So that's a pretty good deal, and I'll show a picture of them on screen if I already haven't. So pretty good deal. I think that works out to just over $150 per UPC, which honestly, I don't think it's going to appreciate immediately in the next month because we're getting this Costco reprint, or not reprint, restock, or getting their first wave of them. And this is really what I was kind of alluding to at the beginning of this video, that I really wanted to make a big play on, was these UPCs. Out of every single product that I've seen come out over the past few months, this one I think has the most potential like upside, especially with the amount of stock that we're getting. So obviously stock is gonna flood store shelves. We're getting, I think, 3 million units of these UPCs in total across all retailers, all these places. So 3 million units flooding the market. It's going to bring the price of them way, way down. Obviously, it already has. I think market for them is like, what, 170, 180, which is way cheaper than I even imagined it going to, especially when pre-sales for these were like 250, 300 per UPC. So the reason they're so cheap is because there's just so many on the market right now. And what we've seen with all the other UPCs in the past is that the same thing happens. There's a huge wave of them around the release or just like a little bit after the release. The market floods, people just like kind of offload them, make their quick buck if they're scalping or whatever, just get them off their books, make their money. And then as supply dries up of them, they really appreciate well in price. Things like the Charizard UPC from the Sword and Shield era. That one was really, really cheap. It was definitely below $90, maybe even below $80, just sitting on store shelves for like such a long time. Like people that are like new, have come here in the last like 6 months, year, whatever. You cannot even fathom how many of these would sit on shelves. Same thing with the 151 UPC. MSRP for that was also like 120-ish. So that thing sat on shelves 100%. Market for that was around $100 for a good while, I remember. And I remember I picked up at least 1 or 2 of the 151 UPCs that I have for like 80 bucks. 80 bucks for a 151 UPC. And that was just because stock was everywhere. People were able to get their one UPC to open. They opened it and they were pleased with what they got. But as more new people came in over time, especially with the big wave of new people with prismatic evolutions, it shot up in price because people love UPCs. People love them for sealed displayability. People love to rip them for the packs, rip them for the promos. There's just so much that these have going for them. And right now, I don't think they could ever get any cheaper. I don't think they're gonna do another wave of these Mega Charizard UPCs, especially not to the degree of the wave that we just saw. I don't think we're gonna see another 3 million of these come out next year. And with most UPCs, we don't really see like 3-4 waves of them like we do with other products. We see like 1, maybe 2 waves, and that's pretty much it. So in my opinion, this is the product to watch in the market, especially over the coming months, coming years. I'm a really big fan of it. And I did also, one of these was from the Pokemon Center, so that one cost me 125 bucks. And the last one, I guess the one that I opened, if you want to call it, I guess I won't even add that to the total because I opened it, but that one cost me 160 bucks. So spent a lot on UPCs this month, and I intend to spend more on UPCs next month. But let's move on. I've been yapping about this for far too long. So we got to move on to some of the more ancillary items that I picked up. So first off is going to be a Mega Evolution Enhanced Booster Box. I did buy another one of these this month. This is also another product that over the month of December I do intend to pick up a couple more of because they just seem to keep falling in price, but the product isn't changing. It's still a fantastic product. MEO1 is a great base set. The enhanced promo card is fantastic. I think long term that'll drive demand into this product. And like it keeping falling in price, like you can get them for probably $230, $220 without much issue. And for a booster box, right now in this current market, that is not a bad price. Pretty much, I think, actually, not pretty much, I think every other booster box in the Pokemon TCG is much more expensive than MEO1 right now. And this one is enhanced. It comes with a promo card. In terms of, like, if you're just looking at the numbers, set value, this thing blows Stellar Crown. It blows Journey Together. I think it even, like, destroys Surging Sparks in terms of set value. So it's beating out all of these sets in terms of set value. Twilight Masquerade as well. But it is so much cheaper. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It just came out. There's tons of stock of it. And people have such a short attention span and they move on to the next thing so quick. But eventually, people will gravitate back towards it. People gravitate back towards random things in the Pokemon hobby at random times. And eventually, this will have its day again, and people will gravitate back towards it. At $210, $220, I think this is a great play. This one cost me $217 shipped. So decent deal, all things considered. And I think this is really a set to look out for. I'm not saying it's the best set ever. I'm not saying it's gonna be the best set of the Mega Evolution era. There will probably be better sets. Ascended Heroes looks like a much stronger, much better set than this. But at this price, I think it's a much lower risk option than buying a lot of other items. And I think long term it will perform very, very well. So that's my spiel there. This is a Journey Together Pokemon Center ETB. It has a slight rip in it. Can't even really see it. Where's the rip? I don't know, it has a rip in it somewhere, like a very small one on the side or back. Oh, actually, it's up here. Yeah, there it is. So it has a small rip in it, but I got it on Facebook Marketplace from a guy who's just getting rid of some stuff. I think he mentioned that he has like a baby on the way, so he's just offloading stuff to raise some capital, raise some money. So he sold this to me for $100. $100 because it had a rip in it. I'll buy that all day. I think market is like 170, 180 for these. Getting it for 100, amazing deal for me. And I love that sealed product. The last thing we have to cover is some Phantasmal Flames regular ETBs. And these I actually just got from Target. I was in Target. I was actually looking for a candle, funnily enough. I was just in there looking for a candle, and these were stocked. It was like midday on a random, I think it was midday on a Saturday, and these were stocked. So I picked up 2 of them, and that was that. So these are the only Phantasmal Flames like regular products when you think about like booster bundles, sleeve packs, all that other stuff that I got for MSRP besides like the Pokemon Center pre-orders. Because I don't really intend to go to these stores and like sit in lines, do all that stuff. I'd much rather just enjoy my mornings and do other stuff. So I did purchase these. These cost me, I think, $60 each, I want to say. So 120 for each of these, or 120 total for this. In terms of long-term investment, things like regular ETBs on launch, on release, they are not showing that they're going to perform very well, especially because of the threat of reprints coming. On release, you really want to go for Pokemon Center ETBs or things like booster boxes, which get much less restocks. ETBs get restocks all the time. Think about like Surging Sparks getting those huge Costco restocks, Prismatic Evolutions also getting huge Costco restocks, and those were like 6 months to a year after their release. So things like this, buying it for $60 now when, like think about Surging Sparks. After its release, like 2 months after, market for them was like $70. Right now, market for them is like $70. So in terms of an investment, I think you're gonna have to wait a long time for regular ETBs and things like that to appreciate. Pokemon Center ETBs, I believe, have much more upside potential in a shorter time frame. So that's why I generally stay with them, but I will absolutely pick up some regular ETBs when I can. And that concludes our video. That is everything that I invested in over the month of November. I stayed pretty modern. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting some Sword and Shield things to pop up, but I didn't find any outstanding deals. There are some Sword and Shield products that I am looking out for, namely like booster boxes, some of the ETBs, even things like the Astral Radiance Pokemon Center ETB. Huge fan of this. This is, if you don't know, it's my favorite Pokemon Center ETB of all time, just because of, I mean, look how cool that thing looks. I know it's like, it might be backwards because of my camera, because it's front facing right now, but definitely one of my favorites of all time. But next month, definitely looking out for Mega Evolution booster boxes, Phantasmal Flames UPCs or Mega Charizard UPCs, and then whatever else I can get a good deal on, especially with certain things falling in price and a lot of people panicking. And I guess probably people have clicked off the video already, but if I give any tip to anybody is when something happens in the market, things change in the market, you react accordingly. Obviously, you have to react to the market that you're in right now. Like my strategy with buying stuff right now is not the same as it was a year, 2 years ago, because the market is completely different. There's new people in the market. There's demand for different things in the market. So you have to shift and adapt. But the main thing you want to do is whenever something happens, you don't want to overreact. I see a lot of people overreacting, panic selling their stuff at like 70, 80% of market. That is when you make a mistake. And that is where I can make money off of people basically panic selling and overreacting, because they're overreacting. They're just trying to get stuff off their books, and they're selling at lows. People are selling these Phantasmal Flames UPCs for like $150. Do I think they're gonna go below $150? Maybe with the Costco reprint, but I don't think it's gonna get much lower than that. And then thinking long term, I think they have so much upside potential. So take advantage when people are overreacting and panic selling. That is when I'm making moves. That's when a lot of other Pokemon investors are making moves. And just check yourself before you overreact and make a rash decision, especially just with anything, honestly. But that's all I got for today. This video has gone on far too long. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay safe out there.